Studio 54 was the ultimate discotheque. I can't imagine any reason for another disco after 54. Ian Schrager and Steve Rubell were brilliant at doing this. Not only did they create the crowd that you needed to do, but the areas that they created for people to hang out and be with, the things that went on, the special effects that came down, these whirling lights would come down into the dancers, and then confetti would come over you, and people would be dancing by naked or painted gold, or a large spoon would be flying by on the stage.
In L.A., well, at least back then, and I could be wrong, maybe they just let me in, but I don't remember this line outside where people picking and choosing who gets in based on how they look. Got a problem with that, okay? And that was very prevalent, though, in New York, Studio 54. I mean, you can be in line for hours and not get in. Of course, we didn't have a problem getting in. I didn't have a problem because back then, by the time I got to Studio 54, I was this quote-unquote boogie oogie girl, so they were going to let me in, but I always felt bad for people that were still standing outside by the time I went to leave.
I asked Steve Rubell once how he could be so mean at the door, how he could not let people in, and he said to me, fine, you work the door for the night, but remember, if you let too many people in that aren't people that other people want to see, you'll ruin the club.
The overriding thing was if you had style, if you really had sufficient style, I mean, you could really get in there. And it wasn't the kind of style today that's so based on labels and logos and things. It was real creativity.
So I stood up there. He was a short guy. He used to stand on a fire hydrant, you know, that vertical one in New York, which would go up against the wall. And I stood up there like he did, and I looked at the line. And I have to tell you that I did not let people in. I would say, no, oh, you, come right in. You know, he had the ability to balance it out, and then once he got everybody there, he was the ringmaster of making them all come together.
I performed at Studio 54 a number of times. It was a great place to perform. I really loved performing there because of the audiences that were there were just so jaded. And if you could be popular, it was almost like New York, New York. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
It was agreed that we do the after party at Studio 54, and my recollection is that it was the same night as Bianca Jagger's 30th birthday party, the famous party where they, and often there were 2 or 3 things happening at Studio 54. They would never tell anybody else that, you know, the after party for Saturday Night Fever is happening. It's Bianca's 30th birthday. That starts a little bit earlier, and there might have been something else after us. But in any case, I left Tavern on the Green early, and I came with a friend of mine, this woman I'd gone to the opening with, and we're sitting in the balcony, just kind of like, I was just like, it had been such a phenomenal night, and I was just absorbing it all. And, you know, they had these lights that came up from the floor, and they're bringing Bianca out on a white horse, and they release all of these white doves who end up frying in the lights, and people don't stop dancing. And I looked at my friend and said, you know, this is like the end of the Weimar Republic. You know, it's like so shocking. And nobody stopped. People moved away. Guy came out with a broom, just sort of swept them off the dance floor, you know, and the party went on.